This video is in response to a very common question, or a lot of questions about this. How did I lose the weight? How did I lose 50 pounds and now it's been 4 years? How did I keep it off? What have I been doing? A simple subject. It isn't specifically relating to Thailand, although if you can lose 50 pounds when you get here, boy, does that help. Helps with the heat. Absolutely helps with the ladies. Just makes your life easier all around, and it really does feel like a new you and a new start, let me tell you. So, what the heck, what happened? Well, in my case, this was COVID. This was 2020, yeah. I think March, I was healing from my first spinal surgery, and I got COVID. I wasn't feeling good. For me, it was whatever. It was just a flu. It was a bad flu, but it wasn't the worst flu I ever had. But I didn't feel great. I think recovering from the surgery, having a bad flu at the time, and I was getting some. I was somewhere mid-process through a lot of therapy, counseling, because I was in, at that point, the early stages of, or late realization stage of, I couldn't tell you exactly where, what date, what minute happened when, but of realizing that I needed to end my 29-year marriage, and my future was going to involve me stepping out on my own all over again. That's just the way it was. And so a lot going on is the point. And what happened with all that, it kind of reset my thinking, and I told Davo this story. This is before I knew Davo at this time, but I told Davo this story later, and he came up with the idea for the name of my channel, honestly. But so I think in my case, and I greatly suspect in a lot of people's case, it's the old adage of, it's not what you're eating, it's what's eating you. And I was, just the old John Candy line. I was swallowing a lot of aggression along with a lot of pizza, eating out of simple unhappiness, and which is crazy, right? I mean, why do we do that? But we do it. We all do it, I guess, or most of us do it. So that was kind of the beginning of the reset. And the first couple pounds just sort of came off by themselves. I lost about 10 pounds or 15 pounds, something like that. And I'm like, well, hey, wait a minute. I kind of have an opportunity here. As I noticed, as the time progressed on, and by the time I lost the first 15 pounds or so, my thinking had further progressed along the same lines of needing a divorce, or maybe I'd already started it by then. Doesn't matter, right? Doesn't matter to you, right? So as my weight loss progressed, I saw my things changing, and yeah, what a crappy year that was. I had a divorce, 2 spine surgeries, was forced to stop working, and this isn't to garner any sympathy from you or anything. Like ultimately, you got to do your stuff. I got to do my stuff. We're all adults, right? So it doesn't matter. But for me, I decided to take this as an opportunity. I thought, this is our lives sometimes come down to these pinch points, I call them. It's like when you're trying to make something flow in a factory or something. There'll be this damn point that everything gets bunched up, a bottleneck or something, and I've noticed that my life came down to points like that where it was a real crunch time. Like I had to perform or I was going to be screwed. And that has always really encouraged me to dig in, and back against the wall, I guess always had been able to pull something out of the fire somewhere and make something happen good for me, and end up improving every time I improved my life. Every time. I mean, I remember being unemployed when I was a young guy, and I was really in the crap then, and I ended up with my first invention, got it patented, and that was a big success. That was probably one of my biggest successes, and it was my first one. It was the timing on that could not have been better, let me tell you. And this is the same kind of thing. I mean, so that for you, that might be what you're going through. If you're thinking about, geez, I need to lose some weight, might be some other things going on in your life. Might have been likely some other things going on that got you overweight in the first place. And I cleared my head of all that. I said, you know what, hell with it. I want to have a great life. I want to do the best I can with it, and I don't need any crap. What do I need that for? And now I'm going to retire. Well, hell, I want a good retirement. What kind of retirement would you like, Rob? I'm like, I'd like a nice one, please. That would be great, and, and that's what I really have. It's really nice. So let's get back on the diet. The first couple pounds, they come off for free, right? You don't have to do anything. If you're significantly overweight like I was, taking off 10 or even 20 pounds isn't really a huge deal. It'll come right back, and usually plus a couple, but you can take a couple off. And when that happened, instead of just the normal cycle of I'll just start eating more and put it all back on, which I had done every single other time for my entire life. I'd been overweight from a teenager to what the hell was that? Age 56 or something like that. So then, as I was going through the counseling, the couples counseling was a disaster. Obviously, got a divorce. The couples counseling didn't go well. Spoiler alert. But I started to clear my head a little bit. And being in an unhappy or unfunctioning relationship with a woman, whether or not, they're probably just as unhappy as you are, but it doesn't matter a whole lot to you. What matters to you is your end of it. Your diet and your personal health, your personal stress levels. That's your end of it. The other side, that's their end of it. For me, as I was going through the counseling, I was getting something out of it. And my head began to clear, and some of the stress immediately started coming down. And this is what's odd. Here I was. And I had 3 surgeries that year, not fun. And I had all those things happening, and my stress levels dropped month by month, quarter by quarter as that year progressed. And so I guess that really evidences the fact that my relationship was stressful. And I'm not blaming anybody but myself for that, and I'm really not. And it's not going to matter to you anyways. But what I am telling you is that if you're in a non-functioning or poorly functioning relationship, or a relationship that's not meeting your needs, or you feel you're not meeting the other person's needs very well, all those things are huge stressors, and that's not conducive to a good diet and maintaining a healthy weight. And so as my head began to clear, and then I really developed this steel kind of focus, this laser focus of, I'm coming out the other end of this, and I'm going to survive this, and I'm going to thrive. And I did. So let's keep going. So what did I do? So breaking the carb addiction, which was my problem, and late night snack addiction, late night snacking and carbs at night in particular, but carbs throughout the day, whatever. Eating too much all the time, quite honestly. I'm an American, so American portions at restaurants, probably most of the world, I imagine, makes fun of that. I'd be surprised if you didn't turn on French or Australian TV show and they weren't making fun of Americans at a restaurant ordering a Fred Flintstone-sized plate of food, because they must think we're idiots or insane or something. So I began to only eat when I was hungry. Shocking concept, right? And but I still to this day like a carb snack. And so what I did, and I tried different things. What worked the absolute best for me, it's going to sound crazy, but I remembered from a Sylvester Stallone interview that when he had to put on weight for the movie Copland, he ate donuts. That's the short version of it. And he couldn't put weight on because he's a fitness nut. And he tried ice cream. He's an idiot as far as eating unhealthy. He tried chocolate and ice cream and nothing worked. And he goes, and then I found donuts. And I love a good donut. And ironically, a donut on average is only a half or a third the calories of like a muffin or something. I don't know why that is. You'd think a muffin would be healthier, but like every time you see one of those articles on calories and stuff, the muffins are always horrible, especially the Costco muffins are like 1,500 calories or something. Anyway, so I'd have a donut. and I love my coffee. I had my coffee in the morning, and then I was done. I had my naughty snack right away. I got my dessert first, right, as Dwayne Johnson would say, and now for the rest of the day, I'm good, and that worked psychologically. That worked really well, and so then, and I knew that eating at night was bad. So what I did is I moved my big meal of the day to lunch. And I also remember I did lose some weight once before, in which I put it back on, but I kept it off for maybe 6 or 8 months, which was up until this the longest I'd ever done. And so what I noticed was that when I had more success with my diet as I ate my lunch late versus eating early, when I was starving by 10:30, 11:30 in the morning, and I couldn't wait to eat lunch, I was not going to do well on my diet that day or that week. And when I didn't eat lunch and I forget to eat until 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon, that's when I was crushing it. And so what I did is I just sort of mentally trained myself to want to eat my lunch at around 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I mean, I'm in control of my body, last I checked, right? So I just did that. And then but I didn't pig out. I mean, because I also knew that if I ate a really, really huge meal, that would stretch my stomach out and make me hungry later. And so I just ate like what I would think is a normal size meal, which when I would go to a restaurant with some friends, and get like a big burger and fries and all that, okay, at like a gourmet pub or something, you know, or a barbecue platter or something, I would generally, what I did is I cut it in half. I asked for my to-go box right away because I wouldn't trust myself. I put half of it in the to-go box. Sometimes they thought it was kind of weird, but I go, hey, I'm losing weight, and everybody supports you when you're doing that. And I take that home, and I wouldn't eat that at night for dinner. I'd eat that the next day. So and also this was economical. So I was in the morning having my donut and my coffee. And if I needed protein, I'd have a whey protein drink somewhere later in the morning. That was like a brunch, you know. And then I'd have my lunch around 1, 2 o'clock. And sometimes I kind of forgot to eat, to be honest with you. I had a lot going on, you know. By this time I was studying Thai. And okay, Keem, Dima. And I was studying Thai, and I had somewhere in this time I had moved into one of my absolute best friend's houses. And the divorce was in the late phases now, and now by this time I dropped, you know, most of the weight, probably 40, 45 pounds, something like that. And it was pretty much a pound a week, by the way, which is the best way to lose it, they say. Slow and steady. And it just was almost like clockwork. It was just a pound a week. You know, and which is, I call rapid weight loss, because it took me, you know, my whole life to be overweight like that. And I took it all off in 1 year. So just, you know, that's how I took it. And probably 40 pounds of that was fat, and probably, unfortunately, 10 pounds of that, and maybe it's 35, 15. I have no way to measure this, okay, was lean, healthy muscle. Nothing you can do about it. When you lose a lot of fat, you're going to lose some muscle, unless you're, you know, really more focused than I was, and you're not going through a series of back surgeries, okay? Then I would have, you know, take my portion, cut it in half, eat it the next day. And then for dinner, I would just have something minimal because I didn't want to stimulate my appetite. And so that was always a protein drink. I'm a big whey protein buff. I think it's absolutely one of the absolute most fantastic, healthiest foods you can eat. And I ate vitamins during this time as well. And I was struggling with some potential depression wanting to kind of sneak in on me here and there. And I also was aware that chocolate released endorphins or something like that. And so I bought these huge Hershey bars. And there's a supermarket chain in Michigan, Kroger. They're all over half the U.S., I think, or something. And Kroger would get these big Hershey bars, and they do like, I want to say 2 of them for $5. They do these specials all the time. And I spend $30. I believe they're like 3 pounds of chocolate or something. And you know, and I'd eat that over the next several weeks or month or something, you know, and I kept, and I still do that trick to this day. I still have I switched from milk to dark chocolate. I always hated dark chocolate. I hated it. I couldn't eat it. And I said, you know what, I'm just going to eat dark chocolate because that's healthier. And in a couple of weeks, I got used to the dark chocolate, and then the milk chocolate tasted too sweet. So there you go. I mean, what's that, right? And so there I was, now at this point, with my ticket booked, studying Thai every day, reading, living at my friend's house, chilling. I got no pressure. I had my initial preliminary healing from the last back surgery in the U.S., which may be my last back surgery in the U.S. ever. I don't know. I still haven't decided on what I'm going to do next, and if I'm going to have it here or there. And the last couple pounds came off, and then I was trying to get a little bit of muscle tone back, but I was so limited in my movements. It was so hard. I mean, you'd be much smarter and be better off to not do this while you're in the middle of a bunch of surgeries and crap, but you could be more mobile. But my mobility was really limited, and it was very, very difficult to do much of anything. I could walk. I was using a cane, relying on a cane very heavily. Barely able to walk, in all honesty. Really struggling physically. And I was in a ton of pain, just a crap ton of pain. 24-hour, just hard to sleep, the whole thing. So, and all that was less stress than being in a marriage where, I think nobody was happy, I gotta probably say. So, boy, as far as that goes, I mean, if you guys are not doing well and you're in a relationship that's just not cutting it at all, my advice is don't suck it up. There's no heroism in just falling on your sword for your kids or whatever. You're not going to fool adult children. They're going to know that no one's happy, and that's just no way to spend your life. And if people love and care about you, ultimately they're going to want you happy, right? Aren't they? I think that's better. But that was kind of my story. And so now I still have my donut or a couple of shortbread cookies or something like that with my coffee every morning. And my bigger meal of the day is still lunch. And I have, like, for brunch, I'll have coffee donut for like breakfast. But breakfast for me is at 6 o'clock in the morning, and then usually around 9:30, 10, I'll have like a brunch. It might be an egg or two. It might be it's a small meal, but it's a meal. And then I'll usually have lunch around 2 o'clock. But it isn't huge. And then dinner, I don't really eat at dinner. I just have something. I'll have, again, protein, maybe a couple crackers, maybe a light salad with a little something on it. If I'm not, whatever, and if I'm hungry, there's days I'm hungry, I'll go to a restaurant and I'll eat a meal, Now, if I'm taking Fawn out to dinner, then that day, generally, I haven't had my lunch, my usual lunch. I've had something very small, maybe just a protein drink or something. What I don't want to do is skip the protein intake, and then your body will immediately try to get rid of that ridiculous muscle. Particularly the older you get, the less happy your body is to carry excessive muscle. What looks good on an action figure or an actor in a Hollywood movie is not what your body is thinking it needs to be carrying in terms of quantity of muscle. And it's always your enemy to get rid of. So I was trying to get rid of that. And it takes your body a long time to get used to it, and eventually get used to carrying that muscle to where it won't immediately die and it off and get rid of it. Over time, it seems to get used to it, and it seems to go, okay, you're doing this, that's fine, I get you. And then I'm not some giant bodybuilder, but I probably carry, 30 pounds of muscle that most guys don't have or something. I don't know, something like that. I mean, a bodybuilder carries 130 pounds, But even in my small situation, it's still more than your body wants, and I'm older, and it just gets harder, So I love it. It's a great hobby for me. It's been a hobby my whole life, weight training and strength training and stuff like that, and it's fantastic for aging. And if you've never done it, get into it slowly. I've got that video on hormone production and training for older men. I did 2 of them. I did the one recently, and there's an older one about a year ago, And there's some generally good all-around advice there. I have deep experience in that. I could easily be a trainer. I know more than most trainers do, by probably a lot. Because the guys I worked out with for 40 years. So, you pick it up, right? Eventually, over 40 years, if you didn't pick it up, there's something wrong with you. Yeah, it was a total of right about 50 pounds total. All of that wasn't fat. Some of the weights come back on. I'm probably only 40 pounds less than what I used to weigh. But that's all been good lean muscle. My arms and legs are bigger, and my waist is the same size or smaller than it was before at the lighter weight. So, and I look different. I mean, I look a lot better. I taking off 50 pounds drastically like that while going through the surgeries and the mental anguish of a life-changing series of life-changing events, you don't end up looking great through all that. So set your expectations low. But then you start the recovery process, and I've been 2.5 years in the recovery process now. And people joke about me. I hear on the challenge, which is who doesn't like a good compliment. You're looking, you're aging in reverse and this and that, and I kind of am to a point. I feel good. And then to wrap it up a little bit, I mean, you do end up. It's unfair, but society in Thailand and in the United States, I can tell you, does allow men to hit the reset button and take a do-over and go back with a young woman and live a younger man's life all over again. And now to a point. Do I want to have kids with fun? We've talked about it, and I really do care for her, and it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. But I really don't want to. And she was more testing me, I think, because in the end, she didn't really want to either. She's almost 40 herself. She goes, she's even too old to really do it. Don't have to go like the full Monty on that, and again, in Thai culture, the family raises the kids, often spends more time with the children. The extended family frequently spends more time with the children than the mother. Because if the mother works. If the mother doesn't work, then no, that's not true. But Fawn's a government career woman and all that, so it makes her a great fit for me, As a thing today, I kind of shucked off and did my thing today. I went to the city of Kolat, grabbed a workout, showered, changed, went to one of my favorite cafes, had a killer cappuccino and a nice grilled chicken salad, which was fantastic, and had a chit chat with a couple people, and ran a couple errands and went home. Then I took a nap, had my hour nap with my it's hot season. Had my air conditioned nap, and it was all great, and watched the end of a long interview. It was interesting on YouTube, great, whatever. And then felt a little guilty. Then I was like, I probably could help Fawn. It's Sunday, but she has a duty day today, which is really unfair and unfortunate. And so she's been sitting here at work all day. That's where I am right now. And I came early, like 2 hours early, to pick her up, and it's going to take me 20 minutes to shoot this video. And I brought her boys, I bought them ice cream, and then by the time she's done, it'll be early evening. We're all going to go to the market, pick up some food for tonight. I'm just going to ask for a fruit salad. And I'll often get a fruit salad and like 1 or 2 little pieces of barbecue pork. It gives me a little man food. It tastes good. And 1 or 2 little, they're I don't know, they're probably 2.5 ounces of meat, or they're not much. They might even be less than that. And down to my dinner is 400 calories or something, whatever, right? So I am still, and right now I am trying to cut a little bit of fat off, and I'm having some luck getting my chest and abs showing the muscle a little better and a little less flab all around the place. And my love handles have just about, I had little tiny love handles, which I didn't like, and I had none before, and they're almost back and gone again. And being 60 and not having love handles, I like that. Who wouldn't like that, do I not, it's not like I don't notice the fact that a lot of the guys that are around Fawn's age and stuff, I'm significantly more fit than they are, I mean, I put the time in, and I've got the benefit of an enormous amount of training, which here would probably be difficult to find. The one thing about the U.S. is we're drowning in expertise and knowledge, and it's only out of laziness that we don't go and pick up more. The main thing is when I'm not hungry, and that was a strong habit. Out of boredom, I'd reach for wanting a bag of something, and I'm like, nope, hey, look, I'm not hungry. I'm not going to eat. A lot of times it's just you're thirsty, and you do want to drown in water. You do want to drink just an absolute enormous amount of water every day. You want to just water, and after a while, water is what you crave. All right, now on that, I think we're done. Thanks, everyone. There's an answer to your questions. That's how I took the weight off, and that's how I keep it off. And it's not hard. It's not like every day I'm like, I got to struggle, and I really want to eat that ice cream sundae. Now my sweet tooth is gone. I don't want that ice cream sundae. I couldn't eat a whole one if you paid me. I could before. I could eat 2 if you wanted. Now I couldn't eat 1. And I can have a small, less sweet dish I share with Fawn, and then I'm good. I don't need any more. I'm good. I'm done. That's it. It's the same thing with a beer. 1 glass, maybe 2 of a nice beer. I don't really want any more. I'm good. I just don't need it. So I guess that hole I was filling is gone. I guess I fixed that, and that's it. All right. Good luck. Hope you can do it too.
อันนี้อร่อยกว่า
ผู้หญิงขโมยไหม If she could be any cuter, I'm at a loss to understand how. My name is Rob, and thank you for supporting my YouTube channel. I meant every word I just said with respect.